All right, welcome to Solving Radical Equations. Lots of you have done really well with this already in class, but just in case you're stuck, we're going to solve a few radical equations here on the video so you can remember how to do it or catch up if you've been absent. All right, here's our first problem. We have a nice square root here, and to get rid of a square root, I want to square it. Well, if I square one side of the equation, I better square the other side. So this is going to equal -8 minus 3n, and the other side is going to equal 16. So let's add 8 to both sides. Now I have -3n equals 24. Divide by -3, and I get n equal to -8. No problem. Here's our next problem. This one's not quite ready to square yet because I would have to FOIL this whole thing. I'd still end up with a radical. That would be a mess. I don't want to do that. So let's subtract 4 from both sides of this equation before we go into any kinds of squaring. Now I have 2 equals the square root of p plus 8, and I'm all ready to square both sides of this equation. That gives me 4 equals p plus 8. Subtract 8 from both sides and do a little quick reflexive. I get p equals -4. Easy peasy, all done. Let's go on to the next problem. Now I have radicals on both sides, but there's nothing else here, so let's just get rid of these radicals by squaring both sides. That gives me 14 minus n equals n minus 10. Add n to both sides, and that'll give me 14 equals 2n minus 10. Add 10. I have 24 equals 2n. Divide by 2. And that gives me 12 equals n. So n equals 12 is my final answer. Last one. This one's all ready to square on both sides. We don't have anything extra with our square root. So that gives us -10 plus 7k equals, well, k squared. That means we're probably going to be looking at a quadratic, so I want to set this up to factor. I'm going to add 10 and subtract 7k from both sides, and I'm going to put this into order. So I have 0 equals k squared minus 7k plus 10. Two numbers that are going to multiply to 10 and add to -7. I think 0 equals k minus 2 times k minus 5. Set each of these equal to 0 because 0 times anything is 0. And I get k equals 2, or k minus 5 equals 0, so k equals 5. And that's fabulous. I have two answers. But now I have to make sure they both work in the original equation. So let's try a different color for this, and let's try k equals 2 first in the original equation. If you try it in the equation after you've squared it, it won't tell you if it works in the original equation. So let's look. The square root of -10 plus 2 times 7 is 14 equals 2. Well, -10 plus 14, square root of 4 equals 2, 2 equals 2, and that's fabulous. So let's try one more. So we got to try both of our answers here. And now we have k equals 5. So the square root of -10 plus 5 times 7 is 35 equals 5. Well, -10 plus 35 is 25. The square root of 25 equals 5. 5 equals 5, and that's great. This one, no problem. Both of our answers are going to work and are indeed our final answers. Sometimes, though, you're going to end up with a negative under the radical with one of your answers, and then that answer doesn't work, because then you've gotten into imaginary numbers and they're not going to be equal to the number that you plugged back in. So be careful, because they won't always work. Good luck!